My reign as a Jeopardy champion lasted almost 35 minutes.
This was coming, like the waiting room of the vasectomist, and I know that's not what he's called. I know there's like a fancy word, but...
If you leave, I have nothing left to live for.
Good. All right, so there's this guy, and his name is Mark. And I met him through a couple of mutual friends, and we kind of hung out, and we had a lot in common together. So I decided to really start to like him, and I wanted to see where this was going to go. So I decided to invite him over one night, and this is all really strategic. I pretended it was really casual, like, hey, you should come over and hang out, but I knew that I really wanted to see where this was going. So I planned it for this Saturday night, and it was like late spring, early summer, warm enough where we could sit outside, but it was going to get a little colder as the night went on, right? Get a little close, right? So I invited him over, and I invited him over to my house because, again, I'm a very strategic person, and I had decorated my backyard, and my backyard is probably like the most beautiful, romantic place you can imagine. All right, let me paint this scene for you. So we're all sitting in these nice plush chairs, and there are these like globe lights that are outlining the backyard. So there's this like ethereal glow going on, and I kid you not, right? It's like I can't make this up. There's like a couple of fireflies in the corner who are like going off. I'm like, yes, good job, guys. And it's this beautiful setting, and I had lit a fire that night. We also have a fire pit, like, what? And so I lit a fire, you know, a little early, and the embers are, like, glowing, and it's this, like, rosy aura all around me and Mark as we're hanging out in the backyard. So we talk, we have fun, it's great, and, you know, I'm like, get to the point of the night where I'm like, hey, Mark, I'm having such a great time with you. And he's like, yeah, it's super fun to hang out with you, Courtnie. And I'm like, this is it. He's going to be like, yes, we should hang out more. Maybe I'll ask her out. And instead of those words, I hear two words. Hey, y'all. And I'm like, no, this is not happening. I had not factored in what my roommates and I like to call the Samantha factor. Okay, so this is my roommate, Samantha, and bless her heart, she is the sweetest girl you'll ever meet, but socially, not so much, right? I'm like, gosh, shut up, you know, go away. And she's like, what are y'all up to? And I'm like, we're just hanging out. And at this point, Mark and I is getting a little chilly, like I planned. And Mark and I had kind of gotten a little closer together, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, yeah, Sam, we're just hanging out talking. She's like, such a beautiful night. I'd like to hang out with you too. And defying the laws of physics and social etiquette, she sits between us. Okay? Like, come on, Sam, like, get with the program here. You know the situation, right? So Mark, being the amazingly nice guy that he is, asked Sam, like, what do you do? She goes, well, I work in a lab and I manage an animal colony. He's like, I love animals. He had actually invited me the next morning to go to a benefit concert for a animal shelter in the area to benefit. All the money would go to stray dogs and cats that were rescued to find them good homes. He's like, I love animals. I'm vegetarian too because, you know, I love animals so much. And she goes, well, I love animals too. But when I say I manage a mouse colony, I mean I manage the population of a mouse colony. Well, what does that mean? Well, she's going to tell us. And that involves killing off mice. So she's sitting between me, who's like giving her this death stare, and this animal lover, and she embarks on this journey of her life at work. Well, basically, we euthanize mice in two ways. It's a double euthanasia. First, we snap their necks, and then we have this tiny mouse guillotine, and we cut their heads off. And I'm like, no! Like, caca! Like, stop it! Please! My God! No! No, she continues, okay? And she goes, yeah, there was this one time where I went on vacation, I came back, and nobody was managing the mouse colony, so I had an extra big haul. Oh, God, no, I know what's coming next. And she goes, oh, yeah, well, you know, I had this extra big haul, and I should have gotten 2 bags to put the mouse carcasses in, but I didn't. I got 1. So she said, like, I put them all in. They're like warm, sticky bodies, fill up this big bag. And I walk over to the door, but I can't open the door, so I set the mouse sack down. Open the door, pick it back up, and swoosh! Everywhere. She's like, envision this, a blood piñata. Like, thanks for the visual. She's like, instead of streamers, there was blood. Instead of candy, there's mouse heads and mouse bodies falling all over. At this point, we're like, is this really happening? It's like this out-of-body experience. And I think of every excuse, like, go upstairs, like, a roommate needs you. I heard a funny noise. Like, weren't you going to go to bed early? No, she's staying. So Mark tries to change the subject. He goes, well, you have a beautiful patio, which is true, as I told you all. And I say, thank you. And she says, well, when it's not covered in poop water. And I'm like, oh God, she's gonna tell what we affectionately refer to as the poop water story. Long story short, we had this sewage backup during the snowstorm, and she describes to him how we had to throw all the sewage water on this beautiful patio, which he's now sitting on. Yes, and then we get into a fight about how many days it lasted, because she's like, we didn't shower for 5 or 6 days. I was like, I swear to God, it was 3. No, it's 5 or 6. No, my God, it was 3. So long story short, we also discuss one of her favorite topics is, would you rather die by AIDS or rabies? And it's just, that concludes the evening. But you know what? The blunder of all of this is not Samantha, because she is an amazing roommate. It is a guy who did not date me after not killing my roommate after she told all those stories.
Courtnie Roberts! Courtnie Roberts.